Good afternoon, folks. I'm Master Sergeant Donald LeBeauf. I'm here with Senior Airman Wendy Villarreal, and we're sitting right here in the Court of Criminal Appeals of the United States Air Force on Joint Base Andrews, Maryland. As promised, we're here to talk to you about what it's like to be a paralegal and how you, too, can become a part of this illustrious team. So without further ado, I'm going to pass this on to Senior Villarreal so she can give you guys her take as to what it is to be a paralegal and what her experiences are. Ma'am, would you mind doing the honors?
Yeah, absolutely, sir. Please, chime in if you need to.
Absolutely.
So, first and foremost, being a paralegal, you're going to be under the supervision of an attorney essentially at all times, and with any product that you do, it has to be reviewed by an attorney, essentially. So when you first come into the military as a paralegal, you're most likely going to be assigned to a base legal office, and it's structured into 3 different sections. So first section being civil law. So in civil law, you're going to be doing things like notarizing documents, drafting wills, executing them as well, drafting power of attorneys, doing legal reviews on contracts, or even freedom of information requests. So those are some of the things in that particular section. Then moving on to justice, so military justice. So with something like this, the clients that we have are actually a little bit different, because in military justice, we are serving commanders on base along with their first sergeants. And the biggest thing with them is to help them maintain good order and discipline amongst their units. So when they do have a problem that comes up, whether it's with the member, they will contact us, and normally the attorney will give some type of advice in the form of either doing administrative paperwork. That could be like a letter of reprimand. It could also be in Article 15, which is non-judicial punishment, or even as severe as a court-martial, depending on the offense. So when you are a paralegal assigned to do any of these things, you're usually drafting these things before it gets to the attorney. But in a court-martial, you get assigned with an actual attorney, and you two are both together working the case. So you're reviewing the evidence just like the attorney is. You are contacting the investigators. That could be security forces, which are police officers. It could be OSI, which is the Office of Special Investigations, which are federal officers. And not to mention, too, some of our members commit crimes outside of being on a military installation, so you will also be working with civilian authorities as well. You'll have to contact them and get, request jurisdiction. So those are some of the things. And with these court-martials, it is just kind of like what you see on TV as well. So they litigate the courts, they bring it before a judge, and you have a full jury. And as a paralegal, you're getting all the evidence together, you're getting exhibits together, you're interviewing witnesses with your attorneys. You're in this knee-deep with them as well. So that's military justice. And the next section would be operational law. So with operations, with this particular section is the legal office is providing they're providing advice to commanders when they're downrange in like a deployed environment.
Man, that was an absolute fantastic explanation and summary of what we do as paralegals. And she's absolutely spot on, folks. I mean, generally when you come in, your first interaction with the Air Force as a paralegal will be with the base legal office. And so along with the military justice piece that she was talking about, as you grow in experience and in rank, there's some opportunities that may come your way in the form of being a defense paralegal, which those members that find themselves in a predicament, maybe AKA being in trouble, you help advocate for those people, because you gotta follow the evidence. If things are bad, things are good, nonetheless you help those guys through that process and advocate on their behalf. The Special Victims Council, these are paralegals that help provide resources and support for those victims of sexual assault or any kind of assault. And then we have our OMC, our Office of Military Commissions. As you guys all know, there was a significant event in time in our history back on September 11th that some bad things happened, where there was bad people that did those bad things or associated with those bad things, or at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. So we support the prosecution and defense of those trials in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. So there's a ton of things that we do here as paralegals, and we enjoy every minute of it. But among all of it, as you're going through this whole process, there are skills that you are going to gain that you may not get anywhere else in the world, any other profession or career. So, Senior Villarreal, what kind of skill sets would you say you've gained during your time as a paralegal so far?
So prior to joining the military, I wanted to make sure that I got a job that was going to be professional, but not only professional, a job that could translate over into the civilian sector. So by becoming a paralegal, some of the things that I was able to, or have been able to attain in general, is be more comfortable with public speaking. You are going to find yourself sometimes conducting briefings where you're having an audience in front of you and you're talking about certain legal things, of course, or making phone calls to first sergeants, or even chiefs sometimes, or even commanders, and explaining certain things to them. So you will be able to gain more skills as far as like networking and getting out of your comfort zone. Additionally, there's a lot of programs that we work with, so you'll become proficient with Excels and PDF formats, and then also researching. So like case law, before you tell me to go into a program called Lexis, I'm like, I don't know what that is, but you go in there and you start learning different programs that could easily translate into the civilian sector as well. So.
Absolutely right. So she's absolutely right. So there's just tons of skills, tons of software, like you said, Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint. These are things that are integral to what we do as paralegals, and you will become the subject matter expert in those things. And so there's a lot of things. We only hit the tip of the iceberg regarding this subject. So there's tons of things that we can do, there's tons of things that we do, tons of things that we have opportunities to do that we would love to share with you, but unfortunately we are confined by time. So if you have any questions or anything that you heard during this broadcast that piqued your interest, please put your comments, put your questions in the chat. Let us know what your thoughts are. We'll be glad to answer those questions. But for right now, we have to go. But again, if you're interested, find your nearest recruiter. Please become a part of this team and figure out what it is that you need to do to be part of it. We'd be glad to welcome you. So signing off for me, Master Sergeant LeBeauf.
Senior Airman Villarreal.
We appreciate your time and thank you so much for tuning into this broadcast. Thank you. We hope to see you on the other side.